It's time now for County-Wide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Brad Miller as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives here in Yavapai County. And now, here's today's County-Wide.
Welcome to County-Wide. I'm Paul David. It is good to have you in studio today. It's no surprise Crown King Road was damaged by floodwaters right shortly after the Gladiator fire last month in July. And so we've been talking with Denny Foulk with Yavapai Emergency Management. He's the coordinator. And he's been giving us updates on how things have been progressing along. And today's the first day we really get him in studio. Denny, thanks for coming in.
Well, thank you for the invite, Paul.
Good to see you. And so we wanted to have you come in and kind of tell us what happened out there, because initially, I guess, when the rock slides and stuff came down the hillside, it was going to be a couple of weeks to fix it. But it's a lot more than we anticipated. And before we get to that, I want to find out how you're doing, because Nick Angelillo, left. He's gone, and you stepped in. You were here last year when you stepped in to take over. How are things going for you?
Things are going great.
Yeah.
We have we've had a time to sit back and actually work the program and learn how things are done here in Yavapai County, and it's been a wonderful experience. I mean, we've had our challenges. Crown King definitely was a trial by fire. Yeah. But all in all, I think the county did an outstanding job in its response to the fire and also the post-fire flooding. So. Is
this your first emergency for emergency management in the county?
For Yavapai County it is, but I have some extensive background as far as floods and tornadoes and different things like that.
But how nice to be able to take that time to kind of get, like you said, get used to how Yavapai County does things, and then you've got that time to take a look at that, and then voila, here's your emergency. So tell me about Crown King Road. That's quite a bit of damage down there.
It is. It actually started on July 13th. We had a massive storm come through, kind of hovered over the area. Material, when I say material, soil, because the plant life and stuff has been burnt out on the upper sides of the watershed. A lot of the soil dislodged and came down. Around mile marker 26, there was a massive slide of soil and fine rock.
What kind of tonnage are we talking about when you say a massive slide?
Well, I'm talking probably a couple hundred yards by 30 yards, maybe I would say 2 or 3 feet deep.
And these aren't just rocks, these are boulders. I mean, we've got pictures coming up on the screen of the damage that was out there. But
well, that actually occurred the following day.
Okay, all right.
The first day we lost a lot of soil.
All right. And
the vegetation up there is just nothing holding that in place. That came down around mile marker 26. The following day, the same situation kind of set up that afternoon. Myself and Mark Massis was up in the area doing a survey of the mitigation work we did in Crown King to see how it was taken, and to make sure that we were ready when these rain events started coming, and everything looked beautiful up there. And as we were coming down, it started raining, and it started raining rather heavily. And shortly after we got through that area, around mile marker 24, this is a huge, when I say huge, you'll see the picture of a rock slide coming down the side of a water course there at 24 and actually cut the road and then cut the edge of the shoulder and the switchback below.
Okay.
So it was rather large.
How much road are we talking about?
Well, it happened actually in several places. Once the water overtopped, the basins, the catch basins that catch the sediment, very quickly became full. And once it became full, the water started overtopping the road and cutting the downslope side of the road. So it happened in several places, but the worst place was at mile marker 24.
So this isn't kind of the mudslide that we see kind of in Oak Creek Canyon on a regular basis, where it rains, and as you drive through Oak Creek Canyon, you see all kinds of areas where that dirt's going to come down, but they basically bring in a bulldozer or whatever and scrape it off, and off we go. But it's not that simple.
No, it's not, because there's a lot of damage because of the steepness of the terrain. There's a lot of damage on the downslope sides of the roads. Once those catch basins fill up, the water has no place to go. So it quickly fills up, overruns the road, and begins cutting, erosion, doing its work. What really makes it worse is the fact that the vegetation that would normally hold the soil in place to keep the boulders in place is gone. And so one of the things we did, like in Crown King proper, is we laid mulch and we laid some straw and we laid some seed, and now the seed is starting to grow and it's holding that soil in place, and the vegetation's starting to show some regrowth. So it's positive signs.
That's good news. That's good news. What's been one of the biggest challenges so far with this?
Well, I tell you, I think all of this happening from the time of the fire, when the fire started May 14th, from the time of the fire, the businesses up in Crown King have been really suffering, and they need to have some tourist traffic up through there. The road's going to be open. This evening, they're going to be opening the road Monday through Thursday with some minor delays.
So the 8 a.m., 5 p.m. closure will end today?
It'll end today. And
if it's a perfect world? If
it's a perfect world, we don't get no more damage up there, it'll end today. But what we're looking at is that the Crown King Road will be open. There will be some minor delays Monday through Thursday during 7:30 to 4:30 in the afternoon. But after that, the equipment will be taken off the highway. Folks can get up there. The road is passable. And Crown King is such a beautiful place. And the city itself, or the town itself, was saved. So that's a good thing.
Crown King Road paved. It's a paved road.
No.
No, it's not. So this is a dirt washing out a dirt road.
Yes.
Okay.
And what we are going to be doing is some mitigation work up there, but it'll be later on in the season, probably next month. We're going to armor some of the areas where the water course intersects the highway. Okay. And we're going to be putting some low water bridges in there. And that will allow, when the water does overtop the road, it will happen. It does have a armored surface that it can cross over, and it'll allow us to be able to preserve the road. And if we do have material that does fall on the road, we can push it off.
Somebody told me once that whether or not the Gladiator fire had happened, that this part of the road was just doomed for failure, that this chunk of roadway, it was bound to happen.
Well, I don't know that.
Yeah?
But what I do know is that with the burn area, crossing that area, there's nothing holding the soil. The soil is actually what was holding the rocks in place. So once the soil was moved out by the water, that created that situation where you had the massive flow of debris, rocks, and everything else. I suppose that area is very susceptible for that type of damage. And so maybe, maybe not.
Maybe, maybe not, huh? All right. Yeah. Let's take our first break.
Thank you.
Yavapai Emergency Management Coordinator Denny Foulk in studio. I'm Paul David, where this is Countywide. We'll talk about Crown King Road and the damage out there. Stick around. Countywide will be back in just a couple minutes.
So, I just moved in with this family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
I think someone at my friend's school has this thing called autism. My friend's brother's son has autism. My neighbor's son has autism. My son has autism.
Autism is getting closer to home. Today, 1 in 110 children is diagnosed with autism. That's a 600% increase in the last 20 years. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Danse, balance la cadence, ondule bien tes hanches, au bal du dimanche. Danse, que la fête commence. Dans ma belle.
You didn't give up on sex. Don't give up on birth control either. There are more methods than you think. Find yours at bedsider.org.
I mean, I catch a lot of, little itty bitty fish too. Welcome back to Countywide. I'm Paul David. Denny Foulk with Yavapai County Emergency Services in studio today. We're talking about the damage done there at Crown King. First, the Gladiator fire came along and caused a lot of damage and closed Crown King down for quite some time. And then we had the floodwaters come through, and was it 6 inches of rain that hit that spot, huh?
Yes, sir. We actually had 2 gauges, one up on Lincoln Ridge and one in Crown King, that actually validated each other. So it was well over 6 inches there.
Phenomenal.
It is. And you're looking at probably close to a 10-inch total over 2 days.
Wow.
So it was significant.
Yeah. And you mentioned that there's some theories about this, because we saw the same thing happen with the Brins burn in Sedona and Oak Creek Canyon, where we had the burn, monsoon came in right after it was done, and boom, you've got mudslides everywhere. Then Schultz fire happened up in Flagstaff. We saw the same thing. Neighborhoods just completely obliterated with mud and dirt and rock coming down from the Schultz burn. And it seemed like the day the fire was out, the monsoon hit the next day, and it centered right over the top of that several times and dumped the water. We lost a 12-year-old girl in that one. And now here we are with the Gladiator fire. Not days after it's done, it's put out, boom, monsoon hits. Is there a theory as to why these areas that have suffered such burns that we don't want all this rain to hit, it hits?
Well, I would say I don't know if it reaches the level of a theory, but it is kind of like a hypothesis that has been sent out there or thrown out there. And what they're looking at is that after the burn area, the rocks are black, all the vegetation material, everything in that area is black, and it's collecting energy. And that energy is stored in the form of heat. And as it irradiates up, you have a pressure differentiation, and it seems like these storms just kind of steer towards those areas and they set. The problem then is compounded. Because the moisture that does fall, if it's in a pine forest, you end up getting a glaze over the top of the ash. Okay, and so it runs off, it doesn't absorb. And then a lot of your material that may not be in pine, what happens is that the soil begins to wash off. And that's the dangerous part, because once the soil's gone, there's nothing holding these boulders in place. There's nothing holding the material, the debris flows and stuff upstream that you would normally have. So next thing you know, the water is the transport agent that moves it down the slopes. And then once you get to a point to where the tension on the side of the hill is greater than the weight, or the weight is greater than the tension strength of the side of that hill, that material starts coming down in the form of landslides, boulder slides, that type of stuff.
Coming down. Okay. Well, we're seeing that happen on a regular basis. So that's an interesting hypothesis.
It is very interesting.
It kind of makes sense to me.
I've actually mentioned it to a few professors of mine and asked them if they've heard any research in that area. Hopefully we might be able to find some researchers that are interested in studying this.
Well, I'm no professor, but I like the idea.
I do too.
Now, you were saying the road hopefully will be completely done and open by September 1st, or at least...
We're projecting. Yes, sir.
September 1st, so the residents of Crown King can have that to look forward to. You haven't done this by yourself. I mean, we've got Yavapai County Public Works out there. Obviously, they're doing all the road work and stuff. You've been out there all the time. Who else is helping with this massive project?
This has been a wonderful collaborative effort. The Prescott National Forest, the Bradshaw District, has done an outstanding job of being able to work with us, to be able to help us identify not only the areas that are susceptible to repetitive loss, but areas where we can take the material that come down off the sides of the hills and stuff and actually put it into the holes that were created by this massive flood, and be able to use it for the road work. We've been appreciating that. Keeping in mind archaeological sites and stuff like that so we can stay away from those and preserve our heritage, preserve our history.
Sure.
And then we've been also identifying areas where we could do potential mitigation work. Another wonderful organization that we've worked with is the USDA's NRCS. NRCS stands for Natural Resource Conservation Service.
Okay.
And they have programs as a part of their program. One of them is called the Emergency Watershed Protection Program. That's been an excellent vehicle to be able to do mitigation work in Crown King, where the water courses intersect the highway going up to Crown King. They've been wonderful partners. And of course, the burn area emergency response team from the U.S. Forest Service has been exceptional. So all of these people have worked together in a very collaborative way to be able to address the issues of Crown King Road.
So once the road's done, let me ask you this. Are there other parts in the county that you may see this issue happening outside of the Crown King, where you look at that scenario and say, wow, you know, that's something we should look at maybe changing over here?
At the current time, we're not really addressing that because Crown King is the focus. That is a primary access way in and out of Crown King. We do have two other ways. Senator Highway, by the way, is now open.
Okay.
It was closed for a considerable amount of time for safety reasons. Forest Service thought it was prudent to be able to do that, and they have now opened it, and they've done some grading up there. They've been doing some work on their road, and then also Wagner Road was another area that we could possibly use, but the problem with Wagner Road, a lot of parts of Wagner Road is actually down the center of a stream bed, and so if we had a rain event or major rain event, wouldn't be a good way to go.
Wouldn't be a good way to go.
So the priority is on keeping Crown King Road open. And so we're looking at that. We have identified some areas where we are going to be doing some mitigation work, actually armoring the top of the surface of the highway.
What are you armoring it with?
It'll be pavement,
Okay.
and what we'll probably end up doing is putting a cattle crossing at both sides to allow for the downstream flow, to have an escape route off the road to keep it from cutting the highway. We're going to probably put some low water crossings in. The Yavapai County Flood Control District, under the leadership of Charlie Cave, has been exceptional for working and coordinating the stuff with the NRCS. And these are projects we're looking probably in about a month or two.
So is the NRCS basically going up on the hillside and saying, okay, this is where we're going to have a future problem. This could be a future problem right here. I mean, they may not have been there prior to the flooding, but there they are right now. And they come down and report to you guys and say, okay, you need to do something about this, 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 and this.
Well,
and
it's
it moves
more
forward?
of a collaborative process.
Okay.
Mark Massis over there at the Flood Control District is a hydrologist and an engineer, and he's been up there with me and with NRCS. We've all been up there, and we've identified certain areas where the water courses are interacting with the highway.
Okay.
And we have to take a look at how they're interacting, the amount of energy that's being produced, the amount of erosion that's occurring, potential areas where rock flow and water course intersect, coming in, intersecting the highway. We identify those areas, and there's basically 4 or 5 areas that we're focused on right now. Muldoon Gulch, where it crosses, we're going to be doing some work there, low water bridge. Up in the switchback there, the very first switchback where the Muldoon Gulch comes around it, there is a possibility of the water actually overtopping the banks there. So we're going to be looking at making those banks maybe a little bit stronger, armoring it with rock and different material that's natural in the area.
I bet you know that area real well right now, don't you?
I'm very interested.
Spent a lot of time in the Crown King area, haven't you?
Yeah.
All right. We were going to apply for some funding. How's that coming along?
It has come along very
Emergency
well.
declaration, is that right?
There was an emergency declaration. There's
Okay.
actually two.
Two?
One is going up for the governor right now.
Okay.
For the work on Crown King Road. Initially, the work was estimated to be close to $500,000. It was going to be, I think, right at $400,000. By working with our partners, we've been able to reduce that down to less than $100,000, saving the taxpayer a lot of money.
Really? So
Yes,
what
sir.
was going to cost almost $500,000 to fix, you guys are doing for less than $100,000?
Yes, sir. So
Oh, wow.
the estimates came in somewhere in the mid-80s.
Oh, nice.
And so we're looking at the state of Arizona helping us out a little bit, giving us cost share at 75% with the declaration for the road declaration. And then, of course, there was a declaration for the fire itself for all the consequential management of evacuation of populations, EOC operations, these types of things. So, but Yavapai County during the fire was able to contribute directly, working with the Forest Service and the incident management team, providing equipment, personnel, coordinating water. There was a lot of things that we did for them, and also taking care of the population that was evacuated. So we had the American Red Cross that came in, opened up shelters and different things. So there was a lot of things that occurred not only during the fire, but post-fire as well.
Right on. Let's take a break. Yavapai County Emergency Services Coordinator Denny Foulk in studio today. I'm Paul David. This is Countywide. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
I was in junior high the first time I caught my mom using denial. She had to have known her painkillers were missing because I kept stealing them. Her denial was so out of hand.
So she doesn't even know?
I'm going out.
It was like I could get away with anything.
You kids have fun.
And that was when I knew. When she was addicted to denial.
Denial is a drug. Get help. The partnership at drugfree.org.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
Now, some action from the courts. Billie Jean King renewing her rivalry with Arthritis. First set, furious volley, and right to the net for a winner. Beautiful forehand there. Arthritis, stunned. And here, match point. Billie Jean with the ace, taking it in straight sets. Afterwards, a jubilant Billie Jean King.
Tennis is a weapon for me with arthritis. There's nothing like it for me to hit a ball, run to the ball, anytime, any court. I'm ready. Let's go.
What's your weapon against arthritis? Find out at fightarthritispain.org.
Welcome back to Countywide. Got a couple minutes left in the program. We want to focus a little attention on the Crown King residents. They have had a heck of a 2012, from the Gladiator fire burning all that acreage and to being evacuated for, gosh, it seemed like it was a month that they were out of there, but it was a couple weeks at least that they were evacuated. And then they all get back home. Monsoon arrives, wipes out the side of the mountain, a couple of chunks of road. So the businesses down there, they've got to be hurting. The folks have just got to be saying, why us? Why us?
And you know, these guys have really been through the ringer on this thing. I'd like to ask everybody to go up, support Crown King. You know, the area up there, Minnehaha, the camping areas associated or adjacent to Crown King, they're still beautiful. They still look lovely. I mean, the forest is still there in that area on the south side of Towers Mountain. It would be a great place to go up, take your family, spend a little bit of time, have a barbecue. The burn ban's off right now. We've had a lot of water, so we're looking good up there at the moment. These local businesses have been suffering from a lack of tourism. And I think a lot of people think that Crown King is gone. It's not. It's lovely as ever. And the folks up there would certainly appreciate people coming up, spending a weekend. You have the general store up there. You have the saloon. You have a couple restaurants, a couple trading stores. It's an excellent place to go up, spend a nice day with family, friends, get a little bit back to the nostalgic Arizona.
Yeah.
Historical Arizona.
Let's recap this. So we're hoping to have the whole thing, well, not the whole thing, but at least the road portion and vehicles off the road, work vehicles off by September 1st. Starting after today, Monday through Thursday, Crown King Road will be open with minimal delays from 7:30 to 4:30 Monday through Thursday. It's still open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for folks that want to go visit.
Oh, absolutely.
Any day of the week you can go visit. And have I hit everything? Is that all of it?
I believe it is. You know, the folks up in Crown King would like to visit with folks and see people come in there. And so if you have the opportunity, go up, visit Crown King, and enjoy your weekend.
Well, Denny, thanks for coming in. I appreciate your time.
Well, I appreciate the offer. Thank you, Paul.
Okay, I'm Paul David. That's today's Countywide. We'll talk to you again next time.